And welcome into the Craig Kennedy Show here on the SHC Athletics YouTube channel. Coach Craig Kennedy. Coach, how are we doing today?
I'm doing great, thanks. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. And you brought in another special guest for us. Who we got?
He's a very special guest. This is Stephen Lyles II, our senior captain.
Very nice. And Stephen, you're coming off of a career night for yourself, really. Broke 1,000 points the other day against Miles. A lot of big things going on. You're one of the main seniors on this team. How's the year been going so far?
So I think it's been a pretty good year individually, but as a team, corporately, we've had a lot of tough games, a lot of close games and stuff. I've been really proud of how our team has fought in a lot of games down the stretch. I think this year we've had a lot of moments in time where we've been right there, and we're just right now trying to kick through that door and just put everything together. So,
Stephen just mentioned it last time out. Didn't go the way you guys wanted. Tough overtime loss to Miles, but you kind of eclipsed that 1,000 point career milestone. What did that mean for you?
It was a really special moment for me. I think more so it was just like awesome that I got to enjoy that moment with my teammates. I know that's something like coming in as a freshman, most players dream of that and want to accomplish that, and you don't really realize you're doing it as the years go by and time goes on. So just have the opportunity to accomplish that and have all my teammates that have been there since I was a freshman to be there, just help me get there, support me. It was really awesome. So.
It's kind of funny. You think, okay, it's not hard to count to 1,000, right? But then you think about it, okay, I did 13 points here, 20 points here. It's got to be a number that kind of comes up out of nowhere on you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I didn't really realize I was getting close. So I was talking to my dad and, checking the stats and stuff like that and looking. And he had told me, and then, just talking to my teammates and stuff. And, I thought it was pretty cool and stuff like that. And, I mean, it was something, like you said, it just kind of popped up out of nowhere. Like, as a freshman and sophomore, it's nothing that's, I wasn't really even close to. So, for me to accomplish that now, I was definitely very thankful and very blessed to be able to do that. So,
Coach, I know you do a great job putting together some film. You've got some video of Stephen here for us.
We got some highlights. We got some Stephen Lyles highlights.
And, of course, there are plenty of those in a 1,000-point career, that's for sure.
Yeah. Here he is, number one. This is off the Slam Dunk Championship this year, jumping over 4 people. Stephen's 2-time Slam Dunk champion.
Was that Webley at the back of that line?
Yeah, that was Webley at the back.
So all 6'9" of him, you were clearing.
Yeah. Here's Stephen, little running hook. This is at Lane College. Takes a bump there, no call, but he took the bump, finished, basket and a foul, in my opinion. Nice pull-up jumper there, playing off 2. Stephen's really worked on his jump shot over the years. Nice little hesitation move, getting into the basket. Nice kick out there, drive middle. Oh, little slice and dice through the middle there. Pass from Rocco. This is where Stephen, I think, has really taken his game. His effort on defense has always been good, but this year it's been absolutely outstanding. So he gets the block there. We get back in the front court. Eli driving and kicking. Stephen getting to space. Little jump shot. But that's all because of his defense. Here we go. Oh, nice little finish it. Lane, here we are at home. Great drive, little pull up. And you can't block that, Jack. Here we go. Stephen's worked on his 3-point range, keeping those fingers wide. Nice shot.
And that was the only time we've seen Stephen make a play there that, it hasn't come along with 100 extra steps, too.
Yeah. This is great little out of bounds. Nice pass by Bo. Good lead pass. This was go. Stephen, where you go? Good shot, Stephen. Good shot, buddy. Here we go. Run this little out of bounds play again. Eli is a coming up there to drag the defense out. They know what a 3-point sniper he is. Oh, dude.
Stephen, that's unnecessary. That man has a family.
That's just righteous right there. Nice little slice here against South Alabama. Rocco leading the break, very unselfish. Oh, come to Papa there on Flagler. Here we go again, our defense. We really worked on our defense. Great lead pass to Eli. You can see Eli sprinting the floor. Whoa. He is number one. He's the most committed player to our program, and probably the most committed player I've ever been around. And we appreciate that, as coaches, so much players that are so committed to the organization and to the success of the team. His work ethic is exceptional. As a person, he is exceptional.
And, a lot of what we watch there is offensive highlights from you. And, talk about being that exceptional guy, that unselfish guy. You're part of really a hard hitting senior group with you and Walter Pegg's big offense guys. How do you then kind of, when you're getting into the flow of a game, go, okay, this is my moment, this is Walter's moment? Like, how does that feel work for you?
For me, I mean, it's really easy. I've gotten a chance to play with like a lot of those guys for a while, and then with Walter, he's such a good shot maker that like when he's going, I know to get him the ball and just get out the way. I mean, like for this team, like we have such a good time playing with each other, have so much fun. Like when everybody's scoring, that's the most fun for me because it's just easy to play that way, and it's the most fun for me to play that way because everybody's scoring, everybody's happy, and the game just comes easy that way. So.
Now, Steven, I have to ask, mentioned, you and Walter, y'all have that great dynamic out there. One point, he was averaging 26, you were averaging 20, great numbers. Which of the two of you's winning one on one? Like if we're going both of you out there, pick up game to 11, who's taking it?
I mean, that's a tough one. I mean, it depends on who starts with the ball for that one for me. I mean, I've played one-on-one with Walter many times, and I mean, he's a great dude. Like, he's challenged me. He's definitely helped me get better these last 2 years, and I definitely, like, appreciate him and his work ethic. And, him being in my ear all the time helped me become a better player. So, I mean, we might have to put that to test when the season ends to see, so.
I want to ask too, you're part of a really big senior class here at Spring Hill. I mean, Bo Barber, Walter Peggs, you, Timothy Riley, so many big names in this program. What does it mean to be a part of this senior class, and what are kind of the expectations now for you guys headed down the stretch?
I mean, it means everything to me. Our expectation has been the same since I've been here, this conference championship. And, I mean, like, just coming in as a freshman and having those same guys that you named, Bo, Eli, Luca, Tim, to be here. I mean, that was like my dream. When I got here as a freshman, it's always been my dream to win a conference championship here. And to have those guys with me still, see how much work they've put in, see how hard they've gone every single day. I mean, like, I couldn't ask for any better teammates than that. So, I mean, that means the world to me.
Steven, looking down through the rest of the season for you guys, y'all had a little bit of a tough stretch here in January, a lot of really, really close games. What are you personally taking from that into February and then into those March conference tournament style situations?
Just upping our intensity as we go. I mean, I know right now during this time, a lot of other teams having injuries, getting tired and stuff. So now I think this is a time for us to dig deeper within and just up our intensity and, give everything we got. Like you said, we got a good senior group. We have a very deep team. And so, we got a lot of guys that can play very deep. So, every time we're on the floor, just giving everything we have because I know somebody's coming in behind me that can give just as much too. So.
Coach, we've talked about it a lot. There's kind of a business mentality around this team. A lot of guys who are thinking about that next step. Steven, you're a senior now. College career, unfortunately, is wrapping up. What does that next step look like for you?
For me, after I finish my playing career, I'd love to get into real estate. I've done some real estate with my father already, which has been a great opportunity for me. And then also, too, like, further down in the future, I'd want to start my own nonprofit organization for athletes. I've also started my own training business where I do athletic training for high school kids, middle school kids, elementary school kids. And, the most fun part for that for me has been just talking to them, showing them the mental side of the game, getting them to understand that, like as much as basketball is a physical sport, it's mental too. You got to take care of your body. You got to take care of your mind. And, you don't just become a good player one day. You got to put multiple days in a row and just be consistent in what you do. So I really got a chance to enjoy doing that.
Coach, you get to spend every day with these guys. If you could ask Steven one question that he had to answer completely honestly, what are you going to ask him?
Why do you sometimes zig when you should zag? Why do you shoot when you have a wide open drive line and make what little hair I have left turn gray?
For me, sometimes, like, I mean, a lot of the shots I work on and stuff like that, like, I know different defenses play different ways. And so sometimes, like, my instincts will take me to a shot that I've worked hours on. And so, like, I know defense will give me something, but when my body just kicks into this instinct, it just goes one way. And I just got to go ahead and full send it at that point. So I know I give you a hard time with that, Coach.
Well, but the thing I know is that his effort, if he does take a bad shot, he will put in the effort to get it back, which is a great thing about basketball. Unlike baseball, softball, football, volleyball, where you have to wait for the official to come in and blow the whistle and start playing. In basketball, if you make a mistake, you can redeem yourself right away. And we saw there on the film, Steven coming down to block that shot. He's done that so many times. So you take the good with the bad.
And too, like I would say, especially from this team in particular standpoint, There's nobody who's going to go get their own miss more often than you. You seem to really have that crash the board physical mentality.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I remember my freshman and sophomore year, something Coach Kennedy really emphasized was just crashing the glass, offensive rebound. And I remember my freshman year, he told me, like, to optimize my playing time, crashing the offensive glass was going to do that for me. So that's something I've stuck with, try to take with me. And, you know, there's always going to be room for improvement, room for growth. There's sometimes now I still don't cross the offensive glass when I should. So, I mean, but, you know, just doing as much as I can to try to help the team win, to try to put us in the best position possible. So.
All right, Stephen, 3 quick hitter questions. What's the best moment of your playing career? What is the most embarrassing laugh at yourself moment of your playing career?
Best moment of my playing career, that's a tough one. I say up there, definitely scoring 1,000 points. Definitely is going to go up there. Another one I could definitely say that goes up there, beating West Florida for the second year in a row. That was really fun just because I know my freshman and sophomore year, that was a really tough team, and we struggled versus them, so getting the opportunity to beat them 2 years in a row was awesome. And then most embarrassing, that's a tough one. I probably one from my freshman year. I remember my welcome to college moment. We played University of New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't never remember being blocked on a dunk in high school or anything like that. And I remember I got a steal, was going for a fast break dunk, and I got pinned off the glass. And I remember after that, I talked to Coach. We talked about never going up soft like that again. So I said that was pretty embarrassing in the moment, but that was a lesson that I learned, and it stuck with me then. So.
What about the first meeting that you were late for?
Okay, now we got to hear this. Thanks, Coach, for throwing him under the bus here.
Throw that biscuit out.
All right, our first meeting on campus, it was August, my freshman year. We were supposed to meet in the student center upstairs for a compliance meeting, and it was a miscommunication. Me and my roommate thought we were meeting in the gym. So very first meeting, we walked over to the gym, doors are locked, nobody was there. Calling my teammates, calling Coach, trying to see where it was. It ended up being in the student center at the 3rd floor, and so, you know, we got over there, and, you know, Coach got onto us pretty bad, and I don't think I've been late or even been close to missing anything since then. So.
Never been late since.
Look, if you could work on that with me after the show, we'll be in good shape.
We'll do it.
All right, and the final question, Stephen. You get to pick any artist, living, dead, whatever, to go see in concert. Who are you picking?
That's an easy choice for me. Sleaze, our basketball manager. I mean, like, even his concerts on campus, always a great time. I mean, that's my best friend. And, you know, I've got an opportunity to go to the studio with him, to see him put the time in and the hours, to know how much he cares about his music. So, I mean, it's inspiring for me to see somebody that feels the way I feel about basketball, about something else, and that's passionate. So, I mean, if I could see him in concert, no matter how many people are there, I love to see that over and over and over again. I'm a big fan of his.
Stephen, man, you are just the most wholesome guy. I mean, normally you would expect the answer to be Drake, Bad Bunny, something like that. But you're like, no, I want to go see the student manager who I hang out with on the daily. I love it.
Who's Bad Bunny?
Don't worry, Coach. When you teach me how to not be late, I'll teach you who Bad Bunny is.
Okay.
We'll all get caught up.
Drake, I know. That's a male mallard that you're shooting at when you go hunting.
That is close. All right, so that'll do it for Stephen Lyles. Coach, on the other side, we're going to talk about what's been going on in Badger basketball.
That's a timeout on betting. It completely changed the game, and you didn't even notice. Let me break it down for you. Betting ads are applying full court pressure and getting you to play the game. Many of you are falling for it and losing big money. Addiction is happening in some more than others. Now players are getting harassed by bettors. And we all know that's not how the game is won. So it's on us to...
All right, back to it on the Craig Kennedy Show. Coach, had a great talk with Stephen Lyles. Now it's time to talk about what's been going on in Badger basketball. Coming back off a road trip, split 1-1, beat Lane, dropped in overtime at Miles. What are your takeaways from the road trip?
Yeah, you know, first off, let me say, Stephen Lyles is one of the finest persons I've ever met in my life. And it's just an absolute blessing to get to coach and work with him every day and spend time. You know, and he talked about Fleas, you know, his best friend. My great memories are driving home. We stopped someplace around 2 a.m. Either we got to, you know, get some gas or whatever we got to do with the bus, and then hearing those two laugh at the back for the next half hour. I mean, it's just an absolute beautiful memory that I'll always have with those guys. So very, very fortunate to coach him and get Fleas to be a part of our program. This weekend was really good. Anytime you go on the road, you know your first thought is, hey, we need to get a split.
Right.
So the first game is really important. And Lane's a funny environment to play in because usually it's just really, really cold in there. This time it was like a sauna.
Yeah, I saw that in your post game comments talking about it being hot and depth being a thing.
Yeah, I mean it was really, really different for us, and it can be a tough place to play because the gym is opposite of how you would think it would be aligned with the facility. The facility is like an old airplane hangar, beautiful wood beams up top, and then the court runs the other way. So it's very, very spacious.
So horizontal instead of vertical.
Correct. So playing there can be a little bit awkward. And kudos to their coaching staff because they wore a suit and tie the entire game. And I'm like, dude, it's really hot in here. But Lane's a good team, athletic team. Every team in our conference is an athletic team and hard to play at home. So I was really proud of how well we did on the road with them and played a lot of bodies. And then, going down, okay, now you're going to go down and play Miles. Number 1 defensive team in the country 5 of the last 6 years. Lost 1 year at Kentucky by 10 at Kentucky, the Kentucky Wildcats. They're really hard to play. Their gym is very small. Almost a high school sized court. The fans are right on top of you. They're on the sideline. They're in the back, right behind us. And I was really proud of our guys. I mean, we were down 16, and to come back, Rocco hits a 3 to tie it, go to overtime with them. We tweaked a few things, and I was just really, really pleased with how the guys played against that.
Now, we've talked a lot about defense. Defense definitely stepped up against Lane. I know on the stat sheet it only shows 10. You and I were talking before we started. It seemed like there were 14 or 15 really that could have gone in with that one. What was the defensive intensity like for that game?
Yeah, the defensive intensity has been great. And, the hard part with the stats on the blocks, we know Tim Riley is going to be the all-time leader in block shots here.
Right.
But it's an inaccurate number because he's probably got another 25% that haven't been counted. And we've done a lot of work on our defense, moving as a unit. And I think it's starting to really, really pay off for us. So I've been pleased with where our defense is going.
Coach, you talked a little bit about Miles. Of course, they're one of the better Division II basketball programs traditionally.
Yes.
You guys played them extremely well. And in fact, I was looking down through really the past month and a half, and you look at the games. I mean, you've been to overtime 3 times this month. You've lost 4 games by 5 points or less. What's kind of the takeaways from January as a whole?
We're right there. There's a video out, and there was actually a school where John Meyer worked called 212 degrees. Water at 211 degrees is hot.
Right.
Goes 1 more degree to 212. Now it produces steam, and now you can drive a locomotive. I think we talked about this last time. And it's talking to our guys, each of you needs to go up 1%. And we can go up 1%, and I think we're getting there. For us to put 80 points on Miles, who I think is holding their opponents to 59,
is an insane margin.
It really is. And so for us, we know we got to tighten up a couple little things. A little disappointed with our free throw shooting at the Miles game, but we keep working on our blocking out. And some of the stuff we've had on our board for 2 years. These are areas we need to focus on. We need to exceed their communication. We need to exceed their effort, and we need to exceed their execution and block out. Those are our 4 keys that we go into every game with.
And I think it's really interesting. You mentioned that kind of like it's right there.
Yes.
What stands out to me, I mean, in this road trip alone, Lane has the worst record in the SIAC West. Miles has the best record in the SIAC West, and you played those teams equally close. Yes. I mean, there have been times we've seen, Lemoyne Owen, once again, a team that at the time was the bottom of the conference, and you played them to almost the exact same margins as Miles.
And it just shows you that this really is a deep conference, and anybody at any point can hit the switch and take off on a run, And so and we're one. We know people are going, we know how they can score. If they get, and I tell our guys, listen, you got to get tough on yourself on defense.
Right.
When you get tough on yourself, then I don't have to get tough on you. When we get as tough as we need to be, we're going to be really, really good.
Coach, we'll talk about getting hot and what's coming up this week when we come back. You're watching the Craig Kennedy Show here on the SHC Athletics YouTube channel.
This is the way down a path that leads to a place upon the hill, led by thought leaders activists, and Jesuit princes. Among the Hill is where tradition and a strong desire to do and achieve reside. Ingrained in rich tradition, filled with purpose, fueled by passion. Spring Hill College is for those who seek more.
Welcome back here to the Craig Kennedy Show on the SHC Athletics YouTube channel. Coach, we talked about what's been going on. Tuskegee coming to town 4:30 this Saturday. What can we expect to see out of the Tigers?
Oh, I mean, the Tigers are really well coached. I really like Benji. He's a really good guy and a very good coach. They're going to be athletic. They're going to press 1-2-2 back to a 3-2 zone, and we've got to be able to handle their press and then get into our offense.
Well, that'll definitely be a big part of this. I mean, looking at what Tuskegee's done this season to me, getting ready for this game, they're not going to blow you away scoring-wise. They are really good on the offensive glass. What's going to be kind of the takeaways to get them off of the glass, take away those second-chance opportunities?
So much of offensive rebounding is just wanting the ball. You look at Charles Barkley, who is maybe 6'4", one of the greatest offensive rebounders of all time, because he just went and got the ball. Colin Coates does that. Now, Colin Coates is not what you call speedy.
Right.
But he's got a nose for getting to the
Neither
to
is
the ball.
Charles Barkley.
Neither
for
is
that
Charles
matter.
Barkley. Well, Charles got some. He can move a little bit when he got slimmer.
Right.
You know. And then from the defensive end, most of the time, if you ask a kid, "Why didn't you block out?" "Well, I forgot." Now, is that a mental skill or a physical skill?
That is a 100% mental skill.
You know, so the mental aspect of the game of being locked in, there's a little bit of technique that we teach, but really it's remembering the shot goes up. Even in the NBA, 75% of all rebounds are caught opposite the shot and below the rim.
Mhm.
And I tell these guys, I know you can all jump below the rim.
Everybody can if they're playing
Everybody can.
college basketball.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, so it's a matter, we've got to be mentally sharp on our blocking out with these guys.
taking a look, we kind of talked about it's time to start getting hot. It is February, conference tournament right around the corner, 1 month left to play. What's got to get going to get y'all that 1 extra % of effort?
Well, I think, making sure we're staying healthy.
That's big number one for anybody.
That's huge this time of year. So we're adjusting our practice so that the guys have lots of recovery in there. And I think I think our guys are really getting locked in.
Yeah.
I really like the vibe from this weekend where we're at. So I'm really excited for this next month or so.
Now, Coach, we've talked about it a little bit. In fact, we did with Steven. This is a really deep group of seniors. And I feel like, especially from a fan perspective, sometimes it's easy to look at all of the seniors and feel like kind of a window closing opportunity. Do you feel that way? What's the vibe around the team right now? And what's the expectation in this final month?
Well, when you have such a great group of guys that we have as our seniors, and they've been with us as long as we've had some of these guys, because some of these guys are here 4 years now.
Right.
It's just, and I always tell them, listen, you are going to have great memories of us being together. More so than the wins and losses. It's the road trips and the stuff like that. These guys are just so much fun to be around. And the camaraderie. And now with the transfer portal, this is going to be one of the last groups in college sports where you have guys that are together 4 years. Earlier in the year, I got a picture sent. Ryan Littell, who played here, got married, and all the guys who were on his team and close with him, I think there's 8 or 9 of them, were at his wedding. That's not going to happen anymore like it used to, simply because of the transfer portal and people jumping teams. In fact, this last weekend we had 4 alumni at our game: Chase Shellman, Francis Murphy, John Campbell, and Bobby Burgess. 4 alumni that came to the game. And the feeling of alumni and the feeling of closeness and family with what's happened with the portal, I think is going to be very different in the future. And so for our guys here who have been together through this, they may be one of the last vestiges of a close team culture.
I think that's really interesting because, take Dabo Swinney at Clemson, right? A couple of years ago, he was really big on, I don't want to win through the transfer portal. I want to win through the guys who are here, who want to be here. How do you strike that balance as a coach of, look, this is what this is supposed to be. This is what college athletics is supposed to be, right, versus I don't want to shortchange myself going out and getting what I need just on a principle.
Right.
Well, a lot of that comes down to philosophy. I want to win. I want to win every game, but winning isn't the penultimate thing for me. It's developing guys and helping them get to the future, and it's about our relationships. And for me, is being a Christian example for them, and that they get to know the Lord, because I think that's really important. Because at some point we're all going to die, and then what?
Right.
You know, and so I think that's really important for me with these guys. And then, you know, as a coach, though, you got an ego. You want to win. So it's like, how do we balance the two? If you look at Tim Riley, where he is right now, if he was like this as a high school senior, he would have gone to a Division I program. And I think we do a pretty good job with skill development with kids. I love seeing guys come in and growing and getting better and better and better. And then it's, again, a balance of bringing guys in who are a little veteran, maybe a little more physically mature, to bolster the roster. But I love player development, and I love seeing these guys grow like they have.
Now, how is that trade-off, talking about the division and era of the transfer portal? I mean, you may get a guy in and he may really buy into the system and he may rock and roll and live it up as a freshman.
Yeah.
And then the next year, all of a sudden, everybody's calling around for him. How do you kind of trade that guy off of, yeah, we want you to develop. You need to be here to develop.
Yeah. Not that I looked at the portal today, but there's 221 guys in the portal already.
We still got a month of season left.
Correct. You look at Tana Kopo, who had one offer beside us when he came here. Baril Kabamba had no offers when he came in here. And we were able to work with those guys. And you know, our job, again, is to help people reach their goals. And for them to go a chance to go to Division I, I've been fortunate. I've been at Division I level as a coach. I know what it's like. I know how great that can be.
Right.
But you also have to find a place where you fit really well. And so for those guys to help them get onto a D1 level was really good. It hurts us, obviously, because we lost two really talented players. But it's to get guys in and to buy into the program is really, really important. So that comes to a lot in our recruiting, talking to the kid, talking to his coaches, talking to coaches who have coached against him. You know, what is this kid like? What do you think of him?
And, you know, that's one of, talking about being here in Mobile, one of my favorite kind of sentiments from the Senior Bowl, right, is if you can play, we will find you. You'll see
Right.
a Division III offensive guard going up against this guy's going to be pick number 1 out of the SEC in Georgia, and he goes out there and he wins his one-on-ones and he wins that opportunity. There are guys who can play at every level,
Absolutely.
but it's about being where is the right fit for you, and I think sometimes we write that off kind of in the rat race of how athletics work.
Oh, there's no doubt. And there's some places that are really good and they just don't fit.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that they're not talented. It doesn't mean that they wouldn't excel elsewhere. They just weren't the right fit. And so that becomes the challenge in recruiting, is finding the guys who will fit with your system, with the school. You know, obviously we're a small school. You've got to have a guy who likes a small school environment.
Now, Coach, talking about this final month, it seems like consistency is going to be key. You have those big games where you really get up and you put in the win, and then you've had those couple of games that it's just slipped away from you late. How are you going to get consistent across the final month of the season? And is it easier now that you're not talking about, okay, we've got 1-1 with Lane, we've got 1-1 with Miles?
There'll be a lot of prayer going into our consistency. I can tell you that much. My prayer life will be consistent. But with our guys, I think one of the things happens now, you go February and you go, oh, man, March is a month away.
It
And this
really
is
sneaks up
this
on
is a short
you.
month. So, you know, hopefully this is really going to cue our guys to really lock in more. Like I say, I like where we've been the last week. And so the close games have been tough, but we know we're right there, guys. We're right there. Just a little bit here, a little bit there. And I think we can do what we set out to do. And the guys believe that as well.
Now, Coach, taking a look down this final month, 3 at home,
Yes.
4 on the road, and since we had that swap with Lemoyne, and you're not going to get that chance to come back and reset before the SIAC tournament, what's the mentality headed into this final month there?
Katie, bar the door. I mean, we're going after everything here.
Got to make sure you're getting ready. And then go ahead and talk us through what's kind of the championship format going to look like headed into conference tournament. What is seeding expectations right now? All of that.
let's talk about the field trips as we were coming back from
I'm all for that. Let's talk field trips.
from the Lane game. You know, we always want to make an experience when we go. So when we went up there, we stopped in Tupelo at
Okay.
Elvis's Presley home and let the guys see that. And a lot of them, you know, they may not appreciate Elvis until they're a little older. So we went and did that. And then on the way back after winning at Lane, we came down through Shiloh National Battlefield and stopped there and did a driving tour, you know, about what that was like. And again, when we talk history with our guys, you know, we're telling them, listen, these guys had to march 20 miles. That may take 7 hours.
Right.
Then you got to pit and dig in, you know, and you look at the Battle of Shiloh or Pittsburgh Landing, as it's sometimes called. You have 110,000 combatants. You have over 20,000 casualties in there. And one instant, the war can change. Albert Sidney Johnson, the Confederate commander, gets shot from behind. It hits his popliteal artery in the back of his knee, and he bleeds out in 5 minutes. Just a major shift by taking out one key person. So our correlation with athletics, if we can take out one key person for them, we can turn the tide on things. And then after that, we stopped in Muscle Shoals and went to, because Fleas is a rapper who you know, Stephen referenced. We went to Muscle Shoals recording studio with the Swampers.
Which has featured so many greats.
So many, you know, and these guys don't realize. And then I sent them a link. These are all the songs that have come out of here. And, you know, Keith Richards, Rolling Stones, people like this.
Aretha
Bob
Franklin.
Dylan, Neil Young, Aretha Franklin. They all played in the Shoals. And then we went to Helen Keller's birthplace.
Okay, very nice.
And visited there, yeah. And the guys were going, how did she fly a plane? She was blind. You know, what she did. And so telling the guys, listen, you've got people that don't have the gifts that you guys have. And they found a way to succeed. We got to find a way to succeed. And then on the way home, we stopped at the Jesse Owens Museum.
Okay.
And that was really cool. And they got to see, you know, his broad jump or long jump record that he set, and how small his home was. And you know, they had I think 11 people living in this place that's maybe the double size of this room here. You know, for guys to appreciate what they have. So it was a really good educational trip. And every time we go, we're either going to do something educational or we're going to find some really good place to eat, because I like to eat really good food.
And you know, I'm a big fan of the travel food show. Andrew Zimmern, Anthony
Yes.
Bourdain, all of them. So I
Yes.
appreciate food as part of travel.
I can tell because you got some spilled on your shirt sleeve there.
That's actually blood from whoever
Is it-
signed the
is-
jersey
oh
back
my
in the day, I
gosh.
think. It won't wash out. I've tried.
Wow.
My mom didn't Tide stick it when she got it for
Okay,
whatever
okay,
reason.
Okay.
All right, Coach. Then you mentioned the Shoals. I'm a music guy, so
Yes.
I want to ask, who was your first concert, and who is the best you've ever seen live?
Okay, first concert's easy. It was the Guess Who.
Okay.
The Guess Who, Burton Cummings. He actually went to the school where my dad was the night school principal.
Nice.
So being Canadian, growing up with the Guess Who, I would say one of the best. I would go with. And there's different genres you have to look at. A group called Lighthouse in Canada, which was, I think they had 11 people in their band. They had a brass section, which was really different back then.
Yeah.
They were phenomenal. Supertramp, which was an English group, was amazing. I saw them in concert multiple times. And you guys don't understand. Like, it was $20 to have a concert ticket back then. I mean, you could go on the cheap.
$20 no longer even remotely
Yeah.
covers the fees you will pay.
Absolutely. And we had a promoter in Winnipeg who was, I mean, he brought in everybody. Top names, he brought them in. Winnipeg was a great concert city. One of my favorites, two guys, a guy named Ian Tyson, who actually wrote the song Four Strong Winds, which was a folk classic, and then a guy named Don Edwards. They were old cowboy singers.
Okay.
And when you went in a concert with them, it was like it was just you and them. I saw George Strait his first year touring.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and he wasn't. The music was great, but he spent more time looking around, talking to the band and stuff. He didn't have his stage persona that he has now, but his music was fantastic. So, you know, Guess Who, Lighthouse, Supertramp, as far as groups, and then individual performers, Don Edwards and Ian Tyson were just fabulous.
All right. Now you get to pull one guy to sit down and watch. Who are you doing?
To watch what?
Sing, perform.
Oh, to watch sing? Oh, I'd go with Don Edwards.
Very nice. Mine's Willie Nelson.
Okay.
I feel like just to get to sit down and listen to Willie
Right.
do his thing for a little while
Right.
would be really cool. I've had a couple opportunities to see him, and it's just never worked out.
Oh, really? I've seen him in concert a couple times.
I hear it is a phenomenal show.
I used to wear this Willie Nelson T-shirt, cut-off T-shirt, while I was playing pickup basketball. People didn't know what the heck to me. And with a pair of red Kinney NBA patent leather shoes.
Okay.
It wasn't a look that everybody rocked. I can tell you that much.
But it was your look, and that's what
It
mattered.
was my look. Yeah.
All right, Coach. Well, back in the gym this Saturday,
Yes.
4:30 p.m., and then following Saturday against Lane, again 4:30, and then wrapping up the home stretch with Miles on February
With
10th.
Miles. And listen, and our student section has been phenomenal. We need you guys out again, please. We need your support. We love you. We appreciate you. And you know what they say here, Hill Yam, purple up, baby.
There you go, Coach. Thanks so much for your time today.
Awesome. Great having you with you.
And that'll do it here for the Craig Kennedy Show here on the SHC Network. Make sure you stick around. We got the Dan Pressel and Walter Bullington Show coming out today as well.